friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. You can find Fort Worth Roots on all of your favorite streaming services and on social media and YouTube as Fort Worth Roots. Stay tuned to the end of the episode where we talk about sponsors and more events coming up at the very end of the show. We always highlight one business right off the bat, so let me tell you about Cowtown Nutrition, located at 5430 River Oaks Blvd. They offer a healthy alternative to that compulsory fast food craving. You can also load up on your favorite Herbalife products and learn about their fitness groups that they hold on location at Cowtown Nutrition. Check them out on Instagram at Cowtown_nutrition. Today's episode was recorded out at Pouring Glory for our big annual event this September 23rd. We had live music, a vendor market, lots of food choices, and great beer. It was wonderful. We do this once a year, so if you missed this one or the year before, don't worry. We got another one coming up next year. And we're always doing live events, so follow us on social media. Very active on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, all Fort Worth Roots. Our guest today has been on the show previously, and we love having this guy on. He is with the Fort Worth Weekly, and he's putting out a video series on their social media pages. Just look for Fort Worth Weekly on Instagram and TikTok, and I believe they have a Facebook as well. And speaking of the Fort Worth Weekly, if y'all didn't know this already, we were selected for the second year in a row by the Fort Worth Weekly as the Critics' Choice for Best of 2023 as a podcast. So I'll take this opportunity to say thank you very much to the Fort Worth Weekly, and we appreciate any kind of acknowledgement we get, especially from somebody like the Fort Worth Weekly. Thank y'all for being here with us for episode 170. Please give it up for our friend, Mr. Edward Brown, and let's start the show. This is kind of how the show starts. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots. We are here today with Edward Brown from the Fort Worth Weekly. How you doing today, Edward?
Doing good, Andrew. Good to see you.
Man, thank you so much for being the special guest this year.
My pleasure. Got the morning spot, apparently.
Yeah. Well, I almost messaged you back and said, hey, well, we could probably do it at 4 o'clock.
11 o'clock's doable for me, even on a rough morning.
Yeah, so. And I was thinking about that. Like, I don't know if we're going to want to have these things on our head at 4 o'clock today.
Oh, no.
The first forecast we got for the event showed us like 85, 86 degree temperatures.
Gosh, yeah.
I'm like, yes, we can do that.
It's heading way north of that.
Yes, it's a little bit warmer, but we got the mister systems out. We got lots of shade out here.
Cold beer.
Cold beer. I'm actually still working on the cold brew. They've got a coffee option in there that's non-alcoholic, but be careful because it's got a lot of caffeine in it.
Mm-hmm. And I've got the pickle beer, which has a lot of salt, so I'll be hydrated.
Yep,
all that stuff.
And pickled.
And pickled.
Yeah.
My liver will be pickled. Hopefully not after one beer.
Well, when I went through the list of people that I wanted to have on the show, you were in the front of my mind because you've been so active doing videos with local businesses and new groups that are coming into town and working on projects and things like that. You're always busy.
I try.
Can you walk us through what your goal is with that program, what you set out to do, and maybe some things that you've seen as far as impacts you've had on the community?
Well, we try to get a variety on the video series we do called Hitting the Fort. Very similar to your podcast. I think you go out and you find creatives and you spotlight what they do, and we do the same thing. So I would just say it's kind of a pie that's split between some stuff that's newsy. Food is always interesting, so I'm always, food openings. I'm always talking to chefs and restaurateurs. And then, artists, musicians, and, again, I'm just trying to peg stuff to, what's kind of new at that moment. So sometimes we'll just have someone on the show, like a singer-songwriter, just because we haven't talked to them before and they're active. But I try to kind of keep people, developments, new business openings, I try to make sure at least half the stuff is pegged to something that's brand new. So Cafecitos, we're going to release that video. It's beneath Wabi House.
Okay.
So it's a food truck that is now a brick and mortar, and talk to Cynthia.
Okay.
And so we'll release that this weekend. So that's kind of my summary of it.
Very cool. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah. And Well, did we just close down Best of? Is that over? Has that come to an end?
I can tell you that we've turned in all the editorial stuff, all the descriptions, all the winners for the Critics Award have been finalized, and I turned mine in and I said best ofs are done. My editor wrote me back, said haha, very funny, like my work's just beginning. So like, I think they're going to be working through the weekend. It's a slog, it's a lot of content, a lot of editing, a lot of proofreading. I mean, it's probably the most popular. It's also definitely the oldest best ofs in Fort Worth, Tarrant County.
Yeah,
and I believe we're probably the most visibly impactful. One thing I appreciate about the weekly is that we do a lot of original writing. So we don't just list the winners. A lot of times, other publications will just list the winner. We always give a description to kind of, it's more rewarding for the winner, right? So if a podcast wins, they have a nice little paragraph description of what they do. Hopefully reflects accurately what they do. But yeah, we put a lot of time and writing into it, a lot of research, and we rely on our background knowledge of the community to put out the best ofs in Tarrant County.
Yeah.
So
is there? We can probably get ahead of this now because I know, and I'm sure you remember last year there was not an uproar, but there were some opinionated people talking about the way the best of more on the side of the musicians. It wasn't so much the restaurants and things like that got chosen, but I think later on there was a lot of people with opinions talking about the way that it got handled, and what they were doing is they were comparing. It was the first year back, right? Last year with the musicians?
The music awards ceremony and all that stuff came back for the first time last year.
And I think the problem was people were comparing that to pre-COVID Fort Worth Weekly with a larger staff, and y'all did it differently back then, and people were pointing out all the differences and things like that. But
we talked about that in our interview last time. I think we talked about that.
So I guess the question that I'm trying to round over to is, what did y'all do this year to kind of maybe improve the process or do differently or kind of?
From what I've seen, and I'm not, again, actively involved in organizing it, but I do kind of observe stuff. It's going to be similar, whereas people get to nominate folks through the best of process. So we've kind of combined them. So basically, you get your best ofs, but you also get to kind of write in and get your input on the bands, and that's used for the list for the bands later on that we do. Then based on that, folks are going to again vote again. So I would say, just from what I've seen, and I'm not the one organizing it, it looks similar.
Okay.
So I don't know if they've tweaked the genres. You're right. People always have opinions, good opinions about what music we highlight. And so I'm not actually sure right now if they've adapted that. So it's a good question.
Yeah, we'll just have to watch and see how it plays out. I thought we'd get ahead of that a little bit.
No, I appreciate it. It's a good topic.
Okay, so this was on the table when we sat down, and I don't think that I had the pleasure of meeting these people, but it is a framed, I guess, handout from a funeral for Lucas and Amy Cardoso. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
And you said you wanted to speak on that.
Yeah, I'd be honored to. Like a lot of people, thanks, Trista, for putting this out. I think she brought this over.
Yeah, she did.
Like a lot of people, I was friends with Amy and her husband. And, Amy, I should say, people don't know, they both died in a car accident a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And they were just really beloved in the community. Just genuine, loving, lovable human beings. Mm-hmm. And it was just really hard to process because it was, of course, unexpected, but also they were just such amazing people. Mm-hmm. You think, why would this happen to them, kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Well, we don't have much control over that. It's going to happen to all of us eventually.
Yeah.
And so you just. Doesn't matter how much good work you've done, or it's not very selective. It's just kind of everybody, and you never know when.
You never know. But she was, she lived her faith out. She was a strong Christian person, but it was never something that she foisted on other people. It was just something that she lived out those values.
Did it through example.
And very consistently, and we all still miss and mourn the two of them. Mm-hmm. So they're together, which is also important.
Yep. So somebody's walking out the door, always try to end it on a good note because you never know if you're going to get to see them again.
Yeah,
I guess.
Definitely.
Because, very, very untimely. They're so young.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't expect stuff like that.
She was 33,
Yeah.
So they were both in their 30s.
Well, that's going to be a hard shift, but what's going on?
Yeah.
Anything new at the Weekly?
Well,
you guys got any big projects that you're working on?
Yeah, I've got some stories I'm working on. Again, the best ofs is a huge, probably our biggest thing we do during the year. So that's, we're in the middle, the team's in the middle putting that together. It's going to be a huge, glossy, thick, compendium of what's going on at Fort Worth. And again, like I was saying earlier, when you read it, I think it's fun to read because you're going to learn about Fort Worth. You're going to see writers who are describing our city and the people and going into the history. It's not just, here are the winners. It's really celebrating this community.
Oh, 100%,
when you read about a restaurant, you're going to learn about the history of the restaurant because the person writing about it has been following it for, decades or so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a really cool, I enjoy reading it. From cover to cover, just to kind of, get insights into these different groups and folks. But as far as, what I'm working on, I'm doing about 2 videos a week. Just did one on kind of lightly describe. It's a newsy one, so it's not partisan at all, but it is a news story. There was a dad, his name's Chad, and he was getting just pummeled in family court. He would show up at a place, and his wife would be there. And because there was a protective order based on some allegations, he would just get arrested left and right. And he was like, "How does she keep finding me? Every time I'm driving 2 hours out to Abilene, and she's at the Walmart.
She's got her car tag.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. So he checked his car, and
God.
she had installed a tracking device on his car. And the guy, Chad, like anytime, I interview someone, especially if it's a news story, I treat it the same way I would an article. I verify everything. And, everything checked out. There were 2 affidavits by law enforcement who said, we found this device. We tracked it back to the wife, her name, X, Y, and Z. She was recently arrested for illegally installing a tracking device. So folks, don't do this if you're thinking about it. It's not legal.
Is that a felony?
Class A misdemeanor.
Oh, C.
A is an apple.
Okay, that's the bad one.
Serious. Yeah, it's a serious misdemeanor, just under felony. Class A, at least in Taylor County. This is out in Abilene. And I was personally kind of happy for this dad because he's had such a hard time, and finally he's been saying it all along, like, I'm not doing any of this stuff. I'm not stalking her. I'm not doing any of this. And now he finally is getting a break. And hopefully, everything's going to kind of start moving in his favor, in the court process. He's just a dad who wants to see his kid, can't see the kid because of this protective order, and it's all based on, what definitely appears to be fabricated allegations.
It's rough. The courts usually seem to, from what I've seen, just watching other people's problems play out in court, it does seem like the court seem to side with the mother. Seems like from what I've seen.
I would say that's what I've observed, and that's definitely what he would observe, what he would say rather. And he did, say that basically dads always, never get the benefit of the doubt. It's just they just assume, dad's doing the allegation. And I close by, saying, hey, Chad, if you could talk to the judges or the law enforcement, and what would you tell them? And he said, well, just listen to both sides. Because throughout this process, the judge, Kate Stone, and law enforcement, they would just make a decision. He never got a chance to give his side of the story, something that basic. At least that's what he said. And so, give dads and moms a chance to defend themselves before you do something serious.
So this is a new video series that you're doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. So this is through Hitting the Fort. It was just recently released. So yesterday. Folks can go on Instagram at Fort Weekly and view it, or YouTube, or Facebook, or our web page, and all that kind of stuff. So it's Hitting the Fort with Chad Collins is the name. So sometimes we'll do some newsy stuff, and then like I said, Cafecito is coming out this week, and I'm always just reaching out to folks. I'm reaching out to Magnolia Motor Lounge because they moved. And they
love the new location.
Have you been there? Okay, so I haven't been there yet, but I know they're a huge, music venue.
Way better parking.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
You remember the old location?
Absolutely. Yeah. I know the old location pretty well, and I know they moved, so I'm gonna go just spotlight their new location.
Yeah, it's awesome. I think has it been a year? They've been there for a minute now.
Yeah, it must be around a year.
Right
It's
there,
been a while.
give them a shout out. It's in the traffic circle. Is that 377 right there? Is that what that is? Over by the
Southwest Fort Worth. I'm assuming.
The old German restaurant.
Yeah,
in that
Edelweiss.
and I think that closed down. I
want to say they moved because I feel like I've seen a new location with that name.
More accurate.
Edelweiss,
but yeah, I love their new location. The room has good sound. I think everybody's really pleased. They managed to maintain some of that old Magnolia Motor Lounge vibe in the new place, but the parking is so much better. And the parking was never a problem down there off of West 7th until they installed all the parking meters, and now it's an issue. So they moved at the right time. I don't think that was necessarily part of their plan, but everybody on that block, I don't know if it was they didn't get their lease renewed or whatever. I forget
because they were one of the first ones to move, and subsequently all those buildings were like demolished, right?
Yep.
And so
Torn
now
down.
now they're definitely gone, but they were kind of early on, so I forget exactly what happened.
Yeah, well, basically what it comes down to is they bought up that entire block so that they could put what did they build there?
And the owner
is it apartments?
It's going to be a lot of things. I mean, the guy I talked to for that project called it the Mullet. I don't think that's going to be the official name, but business up front, restaurant, bar in the back, kind of deal. But it's a huge complex, and people can see it's fenced off right now. But yeah, where that used to be, a couple of bars are now demolished and gone, and it's just gonna be a huge hotel, office, restaurants kind of building. So
that sucks. That was such a cool little spot down there, and it's changed over the last decade. It used to be the spot that you went to on Saturday night.
I used to go there a lot.
Yeah,
and surprisingly good food. If I remember, if you'd order a burger. So.
All those little spots down there. One of the first casualties was Terra, that Mediterranean place down there. I was so mad about that. Lots of changes, but now it's a madhouse, and I don't go down there very often. I'll go down there every once in a while for Kung Fu Saloon or a couple of the older places. But
okay, you're more of a fan of the old places.
Yeah, I don't appreciate the hardcore party scene that's down there now. Now you can catch me more on. What's this, Magnolia back here?
Yeah, I think
that's my spot now.
Yeah,
that or Main Street.
A little more relaxed.
Yeah, and Pouring Glory is a great place.
Pouring Glory is great.
Where we're doing our event today. I don't know if we even mentioned where we're at. We're at the annual Fort Worth Roots. We call it FWR23. Next year it'll be FWR24. And we're just going to keep the series going. There's a lot more details coming out about next year, but we'll save that for another episode. But we got our vendor set up. Bands are going to go on at 12 just here in a little bit. And people are starting to roll in and enjoy some beer and some food. You didn't make it out to the last one, did you?
I don't think so.
Did you know me then? I don't think
so. I think we've met over the last year. Yeah.
Well, I got to kind of apologize and throw myself in front of the mercy of the court here. I started some stuff our last interview, and I had no idea how big of a deal that was going to be until I talked to the other party. Well, I'm going to leave some names out, but he was upset at me. He said, you reinvigorated a thing that had already been pretty much quelled. We'd put that all to bed, and then you brought it up, and well, now it's a thing again. So he was maybe fake mad at me. Okay. A little upset, but anyway, what I wanted to
it's all fair.
To the people that know, they know, and there's no reason to bring up any names. But I'm sorry if I brought up anything that should have just been left alone.
We stir stuff up every week, so
yeah, and I don't necessarily want to be the shit stirrer, the guy that's bringing up inflammatory stuff and starting problems. So anyway, I wanted to apologize for that.
Oh, you don't need to apologize. This is Jerry Jonestown we're talking about.
Okay, you did it. You dropped the name, and here we go again. The vicious cycle is going to repeat itself. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to offend some people by making the statement, but I'll say it anyway. I think that we, in a fringe way, are kind of in the same business, and I'm not saying that we're of the same caliber or it's not the same production. It's not. They're two different worlds, but they do have some intersecting spots. And we would love to work with you guys. I would love to have a very tight relationship with the Fort Worth Weekly and any other publication in the city, because our goal is, we might have different missions, but our goal is about the same thing. We're trying to connect the community. And so any way we can work with you, specifically Edward Brown or the Fort Worth Weekly or any other publication out there that wants to help us keep these businesses alive. The Fort Worth Weekly crew is here at Pouring Glory all the time. It almost at least once a week. You can walk in here and you can see the so you guys care about Pouring Glory.
Cool. Yeah.
I care about Pouring Glory, and there's a lot of other restaurants that we want to see make it. And you see the same thing I do. If people don't come out and support these businesses, they disappear.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're doing. We're trying to highlight them.
It is, and local businesses, that money goes right back into the community.
100%.
I was talking to Howard Tran about that, I think, for a story on kind of the bar industry, but I was talking to her as well, and she's saying, us small businesses, mom and pop, businesses, we don't have a huge marketing budget. Like, chains come in, and they all of a sudden can, put up
Millions.
billboards.
Yeah.
They can also lose money for years because of they have that buffer.
They can
right?
handle it.
They will just budget it in. We're not going to make money for 3 years. Well, mom and pops can't do that, right? And they don't have the marketing money. They don't have that safety net. So, I mean, but beyond that, the money that you spend at a local spot where the owner lives here and maybe their family lives here, you're investing in your community, and you're also ensuring that there's something original and authentic in your community, right? Because if you don't support them, not here to make fun of chains, but we're gonna have a bunch of chains, and that's culturally not interesting, right? Visit Fort Worth can't talk about Macaroni Grill or whatever,
How are you going to be the unexpected city if everybody's going to Cheddar's?
No, that'd be so ironic. The unexpected city, Bed Bath and Beyond everywhere. It's like
right.
Cheddar's. Yeah, so we don't. They're good places for those chains. But I love Fort Worth for having so many original bars and restaurants. You get great customer service. It's just a great culture. You feel it when you walk into a place like Pouring Glory.
There's an energy, there's a vibe that you don't get going into a Chili's.
Not at a corporate. You don't get that at a corporate place.
That's one of our big things that we push. I try to do it every episode. Like, hey folks, next time you're going out and you're like, where do I want to eat tonight? Consider the local places.
Oh, of course.
Don't go to Chili's if you can go to Pouring Glory, get better food at a cheaper price.
It's always going to be better at a mom and pop or a locally owned place where they really, care about the quality. Yeah. It matters to them.
They don't care because it's a job. They care because this is their baby and they want to see it survive.
It's their legacy and all that stuff.
Exactly. Well, you've it's been months since we sat down and talked. Is there anything else in Fort Worth that you found recently, or maybe one of these new businesses that you've talked to over the last few weeks that you'd like to shout out that Fort Worth needs to know about?
La Onda just opened up, moved to where Sugarman's used to be on the near south side. So I just just talked to Misty and Victor Villarreal. It's an amazing, seafood, but I guess right now they're doing a lot of ceviche, caviar, really fun stuff. They have like tostadas, and they kind of put caviar on ruffled chips and whatnot. It's kind of creative kind of stuff. They got a great happy hour, great cocktails. I had the salty, what's it called? Ginger? I think it was a salty ginger. And Misty, warned me. And sure enough, after I had one, I probably didn't need that second drink because I was like, I could have just.
So good drink.
It's a good one. Yeah, I think it's called a salty ginger, but that's.
Megan, I know where we're having dinner. I know where we're going to have dinner.
La Onda.
La Onda. We'll find it.
Near Southside.
Near Southside.
It's around here.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah. So. So that's new, and they're just, the lovely owners, local, they've been in the food industry for, I think, 15, 20 years, been around. Check that out. Cafecito's right across, right next to them, right under Wabi House. It's a little food truck that just got their first brick and mortar, and it's regionally specific to a part of Mexico. Coelho, I'm gonna maybe mispronounce it, but it's an interesting region of Mexico, and they have this food that's very specific to it. So it's gonna be stuff that's new.
You haven't had. It's not Tex-Mex.
It's not definitely not Tex-Mex, and it's even specific within the Mex-Mex.
Right.
Had some amazing, basically it's kind of like an open face sandwich. I would kind of describe it as, and barbacoa and lots of finely chopped greens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was really, really, really amazing.
Nice.
So
Definitely have to check that out.
yeah.
Well, we wanted to do this as a quick episode today out here, kind of highlighting the event and bringing you on to catch up. So we're going to get out of here. Is there anything else you want to tell the Fort Worth listeners before we leave?
I want to just thank you for what you're doing. I think you're right. We do have a lot of overlap in what we do. We're very hyper-local. We're very non-corporate. We're looking to highlight what makes Fort Worth special and authentic. And we want these businesses to succeed, just like you and we both do, right? So we want these places to thrive so they can support us, so we can support them. It's basically it. And I think it's a very authentic thing, when you partner with the business or the weekly partners with the business. We want that business to thrive. And if they thrive, we'll thrive, and we'll keep telling their stories. And I think that's a really cool thing to be involved in. So
yeah, well, shout out to you and everybody else at the Weekly for the massive amount of support you guys have given Pouring Glory. I know that you guys have been very good to Scott and the entire team here. So
yeah, Scott's a great guy.
Anything for your homies at the paper?
Just I love writing for the Weekly, working for the Weekly. It's like family, and they're just great people. It's a small team. I'm pretty impressed. I mean, there's 12 of us, and so that's everyone. That's sales, getting the papers out, everything. It's a team of 12 people, and we churn out a pretty decent newspaper every week. So again, I'm just proud to be a part of that. And I also appreciate Star Telegram, Fort Worth Magazine. I'm good friends with people behind different magazines and publications. They're all doing really good work, and
we'd like to connect with them. I've sent them emails, haven't got anything back yet, but I'd love to connect with them as well.
Brian, the editor there, and Crystal's the director of photography. I can connect you with them as well.
Outstanding.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about your videos and the Fort Worth Weekly. Need to let people know where they can find you. How many locations do y'all distribute to now? Local restaurants and businesses?
I think the number is like 40,000 papers. As far as specific number of distribution points, I don't know that number, but it's all throughout Tarrant County. Heaviest in the urban core, so Fort Worth, obviously, downtown near Southside. You see a lot of our red bins. But look inside your restaurant. I'm kind of surprised when I talk to people that don't see our bins, because like any restaurant, especially near Southside, if you go inside, you're going to see our paper. It's usually when you walk right in, it's going to be near the door.
Right.
It's low, so you're not going to see it unless you look, maybe kind of look downward. But Central Market, we put out like 250 papers there every week. That's a good place to grab us. Specs. Yeah. We're everywhere, and we're online, and we're on Instagram at Fort Worth Weekly. We got a new TikTok channel, YouTube, Facebook, and even Threads.
Yeah. So. How do you feel about Threads?
It's funny. I was going to tag you guys this morning.
I've got a Threads account, but
you had one post, and I looked, and it's like several weeks old.
And it probably says something like, "Okay, I guess we're doing this now."
Yeah. It's kind of like, "Hey, we're on Threads now," and then like you never went back.
Yeah. I've been busy, dude.
No, it's
hard to integrate these new things.
I don't know if Threads has that much interaction.
I don't know if it's got the staying power.
It had a huge opening.
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? I mean, tens of 100 million, within, it was a record. I mean, it is the record for people signing up for a social media app, which is amazing. But I don't see the people getting on there and interacting.
Yeah. I mean, we don't even have the bandwidth. I don't feel like people have the bandwidth.
Well, a lot of the Threads was like a vote against Twitter.
Yeah.
Or X. People were turned off with Elon Musk and the way he was handling his business, even some of his political, leanings, and there, there was an uptick in racist comments, anti-Semitic comments. That stuff's, it was becoming a toxic. Someone would say Twitter has always been like that, but I think a lot of people, when they went to Threads, they were kind of like, "Oh, I finally got off Twitter." But again, if it's Twitter's still around, I see more interaction with Twitter still. So
yeah.
So we'll see. It's my early guess is it looks like Threads is kind of stagnating.
Yeah. Yeah, but I feel like people just don't have the bandwidth.
One extra, yeah. The only way it would work is if people like really left Twitter. You can only have one in that genre, right? We can't split.
Well, and I never even messed with Twitter. I couldn't. I have Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And we were talking, me and Megan were talking about this yesterday. No, nobody's using Facebook anymore. I'm like the youngest person on Facebook, probably. I mean, it's the old people.
It's an older demographic. People in their 20s, generally don't have it. And I think there's so much saturation with Facebook because so many people have so many connections. It's hard to keep up. And I noticed the interaction, I'm sure you do as well. We do a lot better on Instagram. Then on Facebook stuff, kind of flops pretty often. But I think there's people are following so many things on Facebook. Our stuff just is lost in the wash.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And there's so much content. I don't know how you differentiate yourself or reach a broader audience with all the stuff. There's too much stuff. People make 10 posts a day.
Yes.
Everybody. So
yeah, and I'm not going to scroll for 2 hours to catch up with everyone.
Yeah.
So.
I get a little anxious about it. Like, how much did I miss today? But, you get what you can get and hope for the best.
If it really matters, people will text you.
Where do you want people to find the majority of your content before we leave?
Well, I mean, again, either in print, because that's where we're going to get the full stories at length. We can't share,
pick up a paper.
We can't share the word length on Instagram's cut. But I'm also aware that times are changing. So if you like video content, follow us on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is just videos, obviously. Instagram has our videos plus kind of shortened versions of our arts and entertainment news coverage as well. So I would say grab a paper or just follow us through Instagram. These are 2 good ways to do it.
Okay.
So
well, we'll make sure that's all in the show notes for this episode. Is there anything you'd suggest for next year? Somebody threw out the idea of a petting zoo. Is there anything else you'd like to see at next year's event?
Petting zoo would be pretty popular.
Good with that?
Yeah. We'll have to have it in December to get away from the heat. But
God, I know. Or have them out in the grass and bring a portable barn.
The year has been brutal.
All right, Edward, I'm going to get us out of here. Thank you again so much for doing this.
Thanks for having me on.
Can we get you back on the show?
Anytime.
All right. Thank y'all for listening, and we'll see you next week. Edward, thank you for being back on the show. Episode 170. I said that earlier, and I was like, damn, man. We've been doing this for a hot minute. 3.5 years. 170 episodes. It's getting serious, folks. We're meeting people, we're making connections, and we're trying to do everything that we can to support these local businesses here in the Fort Worth area. We're trying to get you connected with our local musicians. We're trying to get you off the couch. And it dawned on me the other day, sitting at the October 7th event by, was it the Southside Street Market? Excuse me. We got to stop talking to the people that aren't off the couch already. We need to quit yelling at people and saying, you need to get off the couch and you need to come out. The people we need to be talking to are people like you, people that already come out to see these events, people that already go support live music, people that already know about these awesome local restaurants. You're the guys we need to talk to. And we need to request that you bring your friends and family out. Get them off the couch. It's going to be up to you. The change is staggering. The numbers. People that used to go out to shows aren't going out to shows anymore. People that used to support these local restaurants, they're not eating out as much. And economically, I get it. But if we want to see our friends succeed out here, our musicians, our business owners, our artists, we've got to support them. So to those of you that are out there already attending these events, thank you. Now, pick a friend and bring them with you next time. Okay? Anyway, that's enough of me wagging my finger at you. Thank y'all for listening to this episode. Thank you to the Fort Worth Weekly. Thank you to Edward Brown for being on the show again. This is the second time we've had this gentleman on our show. And, love to have him back on again. It's always great. And he's extremely active in the community. Y'all need to see his video series that he's got going. But he's always out there talking to these local businesses and trying to bring the spotlight to them. And that's great. That's what our local community needs. So hats off to you, Mr. Edward Brown. Thank you, sir. All right, on to the sponsors. Y'all heard about Cowtown Nutrition at the front of the episode, so we'll just start there. They're located at 5430 River Oaks Blvd. They offer a healthy alternative to the compulsory fast food craving. You can also load up on your favorite Herbalife products and learn about their fitness groups that they hold on location at Cowtown Nutrition. Check them out on Instagram at Cowtown_Nutrition. Pouring Glory. Guys, y'all have heard me talk about these dudes. They're friends. They were friends before they became sponsors. But you've heard me talk about them for a very long time. If you haven't made it out there yet, you are robbing yourself. Fairly priced. It's not one of the expensive places that you're going to go out to eat, but the food is incredible. The staff, the people there, It's a very chill environment. Everybody there is good people. You're going to love it. And if you got a fur baby, they've got dog park Sunday, but that's a thing. But you can always bring your doggo up there. Very pet friendly. Located at 1001 Bryan Avenue, Fort Worth, Texas, just off South Main Street, 935, 1 block north of Rosedale. Pouring Glory is a growler refilling station with all of their excellent craft beer and award-winning food. And they've got live music a lot. You can find them on all the social medias as Pouring Glory to see what they got going on. And you can also tune into our little social media pages. We try to keep you update with what's going on at Pouring Glory. Body Machine Fitness, 2300 West 7th Street, Fort Worth, offers a truly one-of-a-kind fitness experience. Your first class has already been paid for. Go to bodymachinefitness.com to schedule your first high-energy cardio strength group fitness class with best-in-industry training, cutting-edge audio and lighting system. Show up early or stay after the class for the IR sauna and nutritious snacks in the lobby. By the way, all of these sponsors are on our website. We have a drop-down tab that says trusted sponsors or something like that. It's my website. I should know this. Anyway, you hit that drop-down. It's got all of these different sponsors listed there. So you don't have to take notes, but it's on there on the drop-down tab. And I think most of them either have a link to their website or to their social media pages. McFly's Pub, 6104 LTJG, Barnett Road, Fort Worth, Texas. It's a weird address. Don't worry. Use the drop-down tab on our website at fortworthroots.com, or just type in McFly's Pub into your GPS. It'll take you right there. A 1980s Back to the Future themed bar with a very impressive outdoor area, fire pit, hang out and bring some friends for pool, darts, cornhole, jumbo Jenga, and catch a live show. Tommy Luke's still doing that Tuesday open mic night. That's always fun to go check out. Multiple times every week, they got music out there on one of their stages, inside or out. Always something going on. I was out there, about a month ago now, but Johnny Five from the movie Short Circuit. You remember the robot? No, disassemble. That guy? Yeah, he was out there. A gentleman from England brought that dude over in a box and brought him to Pouring Glory. It was amazing. We've got videos of that on our social media pages if you want to check that out. Fully operational, like moving around, dancing. Even did the angry face that he does right before he uses his laser. Anyway, cool stuff. Pouring Glory. That's where you go for cool stuff like that. Woodpost Metalworks. Go to woodpostmetalworks.com. Use offer code podcast817, and they are in the process right now of constructing the Fort Worth Roots LED backlit steel, plasma cut steel sign that's going to be on the front of our studio. They do a great job with stuff like that. They can also customize anything for like your man cave or whatever. Go check out all their stuff at woodpostmetalworks.com, and don't forget to use offer code podcast817 at checkout for 10% off. Halk Walker Originals. Go to halkwalker.com. They offer a huge variety of unique and personalized gifts, also laser engraving to customize just about anything you can think of. Cups and things like that. They also do some woodworking. They got all sorts of cool stuff. So if you're looking for a creative gift idea, halkwalker.com. That's where you go. Again, all listed on our website. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck. These folks have been with us for a very long time, been taking care of us. RoofingSolutionsHouck.com is where you go to reach these folks. 817-882-6520 by phone. And again, drop-down menu on our website if you forget, fortworthroots.com. But highly rated, excellent people, and you simply don't want to accidentally get yourself a non-reputable contractor for anything, but least of all, the most valuable possession that you own, probably for most people, their home. You don't want to leave that to just anybody. So make sure you go with somebody reputable like Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck, and don't take a silly podcaster's word for it. You can look them up yourself. You'll see they got 5-star ratings across the board, and they've been serving our community for well over a decade. I think like 14 years. So anyway, RoofingSolutionsHouck.com or 817-882-6520. All right. Who are we forgetting? I think that's everybody. Oh, crew wear. You've seen me rocking that 817 shirt, that Funky Town 817 shirt. People have been stopping me in stores asking where I got that shirt. And I've never worn any article of clothing where a stranger would come up to me and be like, yo, where'd you get that? And I didn't have a resource to point you in until now. But you can go to our drop-down menu, fortworthroots.com, hit that trusted sponsors tab, drop down, look for crew wear, Click on that, and he's got all sorts of shirts, but I'm always bragging about that 817 shirt. It's my favorite. So anyway, now you got a way to get that shirt, and I know you want it, and you can get it right there. Crew wear. That's the way to go. All right, folks, we are working on 2 events right now. I don't have a date for you yet, but we'll get it together and get you out of the house here soon. We talked about this earlier. I'll say it one more time. Get your friends out of the house. You already come to live events. You already support the community. You already enjoy these live shows with our musicians and our artists and our vendors. Cool. Bring a buddy next time. Make sure you do that. We got to get the wheels moving here in Fort Worth before businesses start closing their doors. Guys, I'm serious. It's bad out there. Just as bad as we're all struggling economically, these restaurants are struggling too. Don't you dare go to Cheddar's or a Chili's. You're a Fort Worth person. You're a Fort Worthian. Help us support these people. All righty. Thank y'all so much for listening to this episode, and we will see you next Monday. See ya.